Are you looking to complete quests as fast as possible by pulling as many enemies as you can and looking like an absolute Chad as you emerge unscathed while having fun at the same time? Then playing as a tank spec might be for you. In this video, I'll compare my personal experience with each of the tank classes and rank them from least to most fun in hopes that this can help you if you're not sure which class to pick. I want to emphasize that I'll only be looking at this from a fun factor and not which spec is the meta. There's a ton of other videos and websites that rank how well each spec does in rating and Mythic Plus, so I won't be covering that in this video. I'm not an endgame player, so I don't have the experience to speak on those subjects anyway. For context, this is during patch 10.0.5. My specs look very similar to what you can find on Icy Veins, with maybe a couple changes based on preference, and all my tank classes are in the mid 380 item level since I'm a filthy casual who just enjoys playing the game. With that out of the way, here is my fun ranking. Number 6, Vengeance Demon Hunter. I put the Vengeance Demon Hunter as number 6 because outside of Fell Devastation, the abilities just don't feel as impactful when compared to other tanks. Fracture, Soul Cleave, Immolation Aura, and Sigils just aren't visually exciting to me. The damage numbers are nice, but when I use an ability, I want it to feel like I just hit the enemy hard, and I don't get that feeling very often from Vengeance. I do like the self-healing they have with the Soul Fragments mechanic, and transforming into a demon is of course awesome with Metamorphosis, but otherwise I find them the least fun when compared to other tanks. Plus, Havoc is a lot more fun to play anyways. Number 5, BREWMASTER Monk. I really didn't want to put BREWMASTER this low because I really do enjoy playing them. The biggest factor that hurt the BREWMASTER for me is the ratio of how much damage they take to how much self-healing they have. I'll admit this is likely due to me just not playing a BREWMASTER enough to really get a good feel for it, but like I said, I do enjoy playing them because Keg Smash is probably in the top 3 most fun abilities out of all the tank specs. I feel like I'm dishing out so much more damage since so many BREWMASTER abilities are multi-target. Keg Smash, Breath of Fire, and Spinning Crane Kick are visually appealing and feel good to use. On top of that, it's just a cool concept of a class with the Drunken Master type of fighting style. The cons I have for BREWMASTERs, they probably have one of, if not the highest skill cap out of the tank specs, with managing the stagger mechanic. Button bloat can get out of control with BREWMASTERs, I feel like. I found myself purposely not choosing talents just because I didn't want another button to press. I feel squishier, but that, again, that's probably due to my own skill with the spec, and BREWMASTER would likely rank higher once I get better with it. Number 4 is Blood Death Knight. I don't dislike playing a Blood DK, but I also don't get a lot of enjoyment out of them either. They're kinda middle of the road for me. Death Strike is an awesome ability, and I love seeing big numbers when it crits. Also, who doesn't like being able to death grip that random enemy or Gore Fiend's grasp everything around you? Blood DK's self-healing is the best of all tank specs, and it's fun to see where you rank on the healing meters. Like, I'm at 50%, no problem. Death Strike puts me right back to full health, and I never feel like I'm at risk of dying as a Blood DK. Cons I have, I don't personally enjoy maintaining bone shield charges and managing runes. It's also no fun when, say for example, a hunter pet moves your nice stack of enemies out of your death and decay, or you get knocked out of it. There's a good chance that I'm not optimally playing a Blood DK, but I don't like waiting on runes to refresh or rely on death and decay for AoE. And also their lack of mobility hurts the fun factor. Number 3, Protection Warrior. So I've mained a warrior since the Burning Crusade, so there's probably some bias here, but I do enjoy the protection spec. Visually, warriors have some abilities that just feel good to use. I love how a charge and heroic leap let me go all over the battlefield. I enjoy the clunk when hitting shield slam, and shockwaving a large group of enemies is one of the most satisfying things you can do as a tank. Thunderclap feels better than like a Demon Hunter Sigil or Blood DK's Death and Decay, probably because it's instant damage and not something you place on the ground. Cons I have for Prot Warrior, Revenge doesn't feel like a whole lot of fun, and having a long cooldown on your heal or your self-healing ability can suck. Damage feels low, and it can get a little boring when you're killing a large pack and it seems like it just takes forever. So the top two most fun tank specs for me are very close. Even while making this video, I flip-flopped on who should be number one. But since I have to choose, the number 2 spot goes to Protection Paladin. So I fell in love with Protection Paladins in the Burning Crusade when they were the undisputed AoE gods. Prop Pally is just one of those specs I could be happy doing all content with. They have my number 1 favorite tank ability with Avenger's Shield. It's just so satisfying throwing your shield into a group of enemies and watching it bounce around. Visually, a Prop Pally is the most appealing. Like throwing judgments around, dropping concentration, spinning hammers flying around you, and popping Avenging Wrath just gives the feeling and look that I'm like an unstoppable force of light. Some cons for Prop Pally. I find when playing a Prop Pally as managing holy power abilities, but that's really just a small inconvenience as you can generate holy power pretty quickly. It's not as bad as Blood DK runes, and paladins don't have a secondary resource like runic power to manage. Also, similar to Blood DKs, your main AoE ability is stationary on the ground, and it sucks again like when you get knocked out of it or like whatever you're fighting gets moved out of concentration. This means the number 1 spot goes to Guardian Druid. A lot of you are probably surprised by this, but no matter how many times I've tried, I just can't get away from how much fun I have playing as a Guardian. First of all, they're bears. Second, Moonfire spam, pulling everything in an area and then thrashing the huge packs down while constant Moonfires are popping off from Galactic Guardian is just fun to watch. Do everything in Guardian spec since their single target damage is decent as well. A big reason for their fun factor for me is their simplicity and probably being the least button bloated when compared to other tanks. Like, I'm not gonna pretend I don't enjoy easy things. I got hooked on Guardian Druids during Wrath of the Lich King when they just spammed Thrash and Swipe with 50% crit and top damage meters. I guess some cons for Guardians. They feel sort of like that tank spec that's just okay at all the different aspects of tanking. They are consistently average in each category like self-healing, mobility, or threat output, while other tank specs, they do each one of those maybe a little better or worse than a Guardian. And you know, since I'm just an average player, maybe that's why they appeal to me. I do enjoy playing every tank spec. I don't have a good or a bad category for tanks. It's just like a varying degree of fun based on my personal preferences. I mean, if you think Vengeance is the most fun spec, then I won't argue with you since I don't think they're bad. I also completely understand that for a lot of people, whichever is the meta tank is going to be the most fun because it's going to let you push the highest content. Let me know in the comments how you would rank tank specs and what makes your number 1 so fun to play. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.